had envisioned a much more quiet, laid-back, cooler stage performance than was done. It was very, very soulful, very up. I guess that maybe that says it all. Maybe that answers the question itself. How do you divide the live performance from the album performance?
Well, usually we are very quiet and laid back, but somebody spiked our drinks before we went on with amphetamine sulfate, so not that bad now. Really, the difference between the live and recording is exactly that. When you play live, you play live. And when you make a record, you don't really leap around in the studio. Do you know what I mean? We want to make a record so people can play it in their house and sit in a quiet room and listen. And that's very difficult to listen to music that's just... But live, obviously, we want to get the audience involved emotionally and physically, and so it's two completely separate things we see.
It's like asking what's the difference between sitting in the house and walking down the street, as far as I'm concerned. Can't really say that they're two different things.
Well, I imagine then you'll be putting out a live album the next couple albums then?
I want to, yeah, but to us, because we keep changing the way we play live so often, we keep saying, oh, let's put these songs on, and somebody says, oh no, what about this one on? And you know what I mean? So we have a lot of stuff recorded, especially from San Francisco. We've had 2 different tours recorded at San Francisco. They're great.
Well, what's keeping you from putting out the album then? Just to make up your mind of what material to put on?
Well, you know, it's a bit early in our career to put out a live album. It usually comes, you know, after we've made at least 3 or 4 albums, then we have selections.
I don't know what to do. We're kind of limited on time here, so we might have to cut out a lot of the interpreting. But what we do afterwards is put it all in Japanese.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do.
Yes.
Also saves you irritation as well.
That's a good idea.
Explain it clearly.
Why the big change from the very female look of the first album, What Is In the Garden, to the male impersonator?
Male impersonator. I'm not a male impersonator, for a start.
Why the big change there? How you always change from one thing to another?
I don't know. It's something just implicit in my personality, change. So that's just part and parcel of me.
Yeah, we have actually got like photo chronicles from 7 years ago when I first met Annie, and just every month or something there's like a drastic change. And you can have 100 photos, and she's like playing. It's almost like characters' personalities.
Yeah, I get very quickly bored with a certain presentation. I can't just keep repeating the same thing forever. Yeah. That's dreadfully dull and it's uninventive. So.
Is there any one character you like that you pull out of the closet every now and then just for fun?
No, it's not a closet thing.
There is one that, to me, that is the girl she plays in Who's That Girl? With the blonde wig on, which I see very rarely when we do something like that, and that as always really makes her look completely different. People don't even realise it's her.
A lot of the time, you know, the different looks for the different kind of characters that I feel I'm portraying, in a sense, you know, they're got together very quickly, very spontaneously, you know. It's not something that's thought about for months and really deliberated on. It's something that's usually I get an hour and I'm rushing around some place trying to find a certain kind of wig or a certain kind of dress, and I'm usually, you know, having to make some kind of compromise, and usually so far it's worked out in an interesting sort of way.
How do you come up with the ideas? In your head, first of all, or just experiment and come up with these things?
Everything's from one's head, you know, what one sees, and usually Dave has some very good ideas, and I usually can picture what kind of atmosphere. We like to think of an atmosphere first of all, and then what kind of character would project it, you know, and it comes from the songs actually. It comes from the songs.
Sorry that we keep talking to you.
So you get the information down here.
Yeah. We are more of a group that thinks in a whole sense. We don't think of like making a record, we think of like the record, and while we're making the record we're even thinking of how we would actually make a film of this, and it's all kind of mixed together. So when we actually arrive live on stage to play, it looks probably to the general public as if we've like thought of this amazing kind of show with all the costumes, but it's actually just developed slowly as we've been making the record and rehearsing, and it ends up in a very tight finished.
This gets back to the video there, Who's That Girl? a lot of people appeared in that,
Mm.
and you worked with Green of Scritti Politi and Holbert Chukai. Do you have a lot of connections with these musicians? How is it that you know them
The
all?
thing is, because we're just the two of us in Eurythmics, it makes it a lot easier to meet other people and work with them. If there was 5 of us in a band, people are very wary when you bring in an outside
That's
person.
it, yeah. I remember when we were in a more conventional group, in the sense of the structure of the group, we were very wary of people. We were stuck together somehow in an odd kind of clannish way. But because there's 2 of us, we're really open to working with different people, actually.
How do you meet all these people, though?
Well, Dave generally meets them.
I think I usually meet them, yeah. Annie's met a few, like Clem Burke.
I met Clem,
Who's
yes.
Clem Burke?
The drummer
he's
from Blondie.
Oh.
He was played on one of the Eurythmics tours and on In the Garden album. I mean, I tend to meet. I'm a very sort of more open kind of person, so I'll meet people and inevitably end up doing something with them, you know.
You know, we'll be doing something, some kind of show, or they'll come to see us live, or we'll meet them in a radio station, or we'll be actually on the same bill together. Or there are many different ways, you know. And the music industry is sort of a small world, really. Actually, most people know someone who knows someone else, and it's like that.
How did you choose the people for Who's That Girl? A lot of different people appeared in that video.
Availability. Call them up.
We're just trying to.
Why those people, though? Why?
Oh, they're all famous girl singers in England.
Marilyn.
All the people. Apart from Marilyn, yeah. But you know, Bananarama, Kiki Dean, Hazel O'Connor, Kate from Hazy Fantasy. And so at the time in England, it was a very tongue-in-cheek kind of joke, you see, because Annie was dressed as this girl cabaret artist, portraying the girl singer, and all the girl singers that were appearing were like my date for the night kind of thing. And in England, all of these girls at that time were particularly doing something, you know what I mean? And when it's shown in a different country in the world, probably it seems different. Sometimes things happen like that. It's more in your own country, like a little private joke. You know?
This idea of videos here, there's been sort of a backlash from a lot of artists like us.
Yeah, I was just reading, yes, yeah.
Full Distance, there's a lot of resentment because the people are being forced to make videos. How about in your own case? How much of the Eurythmics experience owes to the video or the visual side of it?
I'd like to sort of give our reply to what he's saying. A lot of what he's saying is absolutely right for a great deal of people that are in the music industry. They're not just forced to make videos, they're sort of forced to do an awful lot of things that they're not, first of all, capable really of doing, or even really understanding how to approach what they're doing. So as a result, there's a lot of manipulation going on. This is something that Dave and I experienced way back. So our solution to that was that whatever we did, in whatever capacity, whether it be writing, whether it be performance, whether it be signing contracts, we can't have some kind of top-class producer coming in and working with us and telling us, oh, this is what you have to do. We're fortunate in the sense that we actually do enjoy making videos. I do agree with him in that there's so much, 99% of it is complete dross, and I'd rather not even look at it, because people are doing it under these forced circumstances, purely for a promotional thing. But Dave and I regard it as a kind of, in a way, I don't want to sound pretentious, but a sort of other kind of art form that we rather enjoy, presenting our songs in this way.
Yeah, I think maybe it's what he's saying from his personal point of view. He's getting too mixed up with video as part of like an artist's form of selling his record. It's nicer to look at it. It's like it's something completely different. When you make a record, that's heard on the radio. You play live, people see it. That's all right. Making a video is something completely different. And I agree with him. If you're not very good at making, you shouldn't do it, because it does make like a really great musician look like a really bad actor.
Yes, and it's hideous, really, that the people are, in a way, their hands are being forced. If they don't, you know, really want to make a video, why should they? On the other hand, if it means that they're not going to get the exposure that is very important, actually, to have some kind of exposure, that's just reality. If it means they're going to suffer through that, that's a kind of horrible, sort of almost kind of fascism. Pretty awful, actually.
It's kind of an unfair state, though, because some people are very good at making videos,
Yes.
others aren't. So you don't see any sort of a problem there, a
Solution to
dilemma.
this.
Well,
Well, there's a dilemma for people, yes, definitely. For us, personally, we don't really suffer from that dilemma because we do happen to enjoy participating in doing this. And Dave actually writes the storylines and we think of everything. But, as I said before, if somebody else was telling us this is what you have to do, I tell you, it would be horrible. And I think this is what he's complaining about, and he's quite justified.
she feels a little bit mean asking you this question, but do you think you would have gone over the way you have if we didn't have MTV and we didn't have this sort of a video?
I don't think we would have become so successful so quickly.
So quickly.
Oh,
But on the other
Affected the
hand,
speed of our success, definitely.
but on the other hand, it wasn't MTV and that made us established as a really well-known act. It was that gave us a hit single. But as you know, like lots of groups have had a hit single, one, and then disappeared without any trace. What happens when we arrived in America to play live? That's when everybody really. Whenever we've hit a country to play live, it's changed. Like Japan, now we've played live, everybody wants to know more about it because it wasn't what they expected. And in America, when we played live, immediately Rolling Stone said, they must have the front cover, and other papers that are really like, not really sort of cheap pop papers, but papers that really give you the seal of being something worthwhile, came along at the same time as having a hit single in the video.
No, it's not an unfair question. You know, I could be a wonderful singer, but what's the point of me sitting here in my room singing to the four walls? We need to have exposure. This is part of our thing about getting across to people. This is very, very necessary. We're completely in illusion if we think that we don't need exposure of some kind. But there is always this question about, overexposure, all the media getting onto somebody's case. And we're very careful, actually, that in our own country and in America, we're very selective about who we give interviews to, because we don't want to just give interviews to, for example, there's papers, tabloids, what we call gutter press in our own country, and we really hate their whole sort of stance. So we don't give interviews to these people.
Sounds and...
No, those are the music press. We give interviews in those.
Oh, you mean like stuff like Sun?
I mean the Sun and the News of the
So
World.
they're always writing things about us, but we never speak to them.
We don't give interviews to these papers because we don't want that kind of coverage.
Is that right? There was one thing I also want to know. Why is a song like Sweet...
It's in there.
Why is it a song like Sweet Dreams Broke in America? I can understand the ones after that.
Yeah.
But one like Sweet Dreams is like enshrouded in this sort of European darkness.
It's an international song, Sweet Dreams. It's so simple. Everybody understands it. The meaning behind the song is very profound, and yet it's said in such a clear way. And I just see that everywhere we go, everybody loves it. The melody is so catchy, the riff is so catchy. It's a hit single. Really.
Catchiness.
Not just catchiness, but also that people can relate to what the song's about.
It's like Get Off My Cloud, like the Rolling Stones, or I Can't Get No Satisfaction. There's one, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. It's like, hey, get off my cloud. It's these lines that for some reason...
Sticks with you.
Yeah, and you can use it in all sorts of situations.
It's not a mindless song, it's a very, very profound statement, actually.
Yeah, it's one of the best lyrics that Annie has written in such a short amount of words that says such a lot of different things on different levels.
It's like haiku. Sweet dreams are made of this, It's so short, it's like a haiku poem. And people used to criticize sometimes the minimal quantity of the lyrics, but I stand by them because I think that one of the highest forms of poetry is haiku, where you actually are being delivered the essence of something in a very concise way. And I like this very much, and I think Sweet Dreams has that essence of haiku.
And on that note, the name Eurythmics itself apparently comes from a way of teaching music to kids, is what she hears.
Yes.
And that's one thing I guess you're interested in. Another thing she hears is being vegetarian.
Yes.
Do you try to spread these beliefs, these thoughts, these interests through the music, or is that completely...
I don't think we try and spread that through the music.
No.
What we always sing about in the music is you know, the way things as we see it, reality, and sort of, you know, all the trials and turbulence that you go through. But in interviews and things, yeah, and if somebody asks her about it, she doesn't try and force it down people's.
Yes, I don't want to. Well, actually, I do want to preach about vegetarianism because I believe in it so much, you know. And I think that it's a very important thing that people become educated. So when you ask me these questions, I'm very happy because it actually gives me an opportunity to say, yes, I'm a vegetarian and it's important to me. And other people can maybe have the opportunity to think about it at least, you know, changing their attitude towards eating meat. But as David said, you know, I'm not going to start singing songs about eat meat to only vegetables. That's another aspect of it to us, you know. If they're interested in us, they'll look towards us. It's like kids, they follow examples of people that they look up to. And we're not showing them to take drugs, or we're not showing them to drink heavily, and we're not showing them to eat meat. So I think that's a very positive thing, and I think that's a great thing, actually, to be responsible for what we're actually sort of... I feel very responsible.
So the lyrics you say are just sort of an outlook on life as you see it. Is it an honest thing, or are you building up more of a persona? Is there a consistent character?
To be completely honest, you can't just sing words just to create some kind of myth. It's not like, for me personally, you know, I have to believe in the songs. Otherwise, we were just counting how many concerts we've done. We've done, the past 8 months, we've done about 170 concerts altogether.
No.
More than that. Maybe.
No, not 170.
Oh, I don't know.
120 others.
Oh, sorry, 120. Whatever.
Same thing.
We've done a lot, you know, and it just can't keep singing something if it's just complete drivel, you know.
So you do put a lot of effort
Commitment,
into it.
commitment, yes.
Getting back to this idea of honesty in the lyrics there, a lot of your songs incorporate the idea of love, romance, and this type of thing. These are all from your own experiences then?
Yeah.
I think a lot of
Well,
lyrics talk about love and
or is
romance.
no, they're not about. It's not
Other
about
people's
romance.
experience.
No, shall I say?
Yeah.
I like to look at the dichotomy that exists in people's personal relationships. Of course, I mean, partly through my own observation of myself, but obviously there's a world outside, and I'm part and parcel of that too. We are all individuals, and we're all existing within society. So our observations are also, as much as they are objective, they are also subjective. So you can't really separate the two things.
Would you care to add anything to that, Dave, or do you contribute to the lyrics very much? Or not
Well,
much?
the thing is, the way Eurythmics works is I'm like Annie's editor, you know, like an editor of a newspaper of lyrics. And I couldn't, you know, write music or join in and play and everything if I thought, you know, I was doing a really terrible song. So, and the same as Annie wouldn't sing something, she didn't like the melody, or she, you know, it has to be like a joint thing. And I think that we're not really singing about, I never feel we're singing about, you know, teenage romance or anything like that. What we're always singing about is
A bit more intelligent.
reality as we see it, which involves personal politics, in other words. You know what I mean?
How well do you think you understand each other, though? I mean, when you look at Annie's lyrics, do you follow what she's saying, or do you just kind of say, I kind of get the drift, I'm not really
Well,
sure?
sometimes I say, oh, you can't say that, because I don't really feel like this, or whatever. And not that I don't feel like this, but maybe that's not the right way to put your
Oh, but I
finger on
look
the
to
point.
him anyhow, you know, it's not as if I'm going, here are the lyrics, you know, take that or else, or nothing
No, I mean,
else.
sometimes
I look to him
I
for
write-
advice. I think, what do you think, you know, is this saying it?
Sometimes,
I need his opinion.
Annie might write, like, for the song Never Gonna Cry Again, I wrote all the second verse, and she writes, Here Comes the Rain Again, I wrote, like, lines, and Here Comes the Rain Again. It's sometimes like she writes a line, and I say, yeah, but what about the last word should be this word, or, you know. It's like the same as in the video, you know, like, that's the other way around. I write all the script, but Annie goes, yeah, but what about instead of that bit there, we do this whole section instead, and then she writes that bit of the script. And then the same as the music, I might write a brass section line, and she might just change one note in it, which makes it 10 times better. That's the strength of us, really, you see, because if there was one of us, yeah, like if Annie wrote everything, you know, like lyrics, it would be very much Annie's thing, but it might not have this edge which Eurythmics has, which is like just when you think you know what's going to happen, it changes.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Just out of curiosity, quite a few changes have been made since the tourist, is that right? Do you change that quickly, or can we expect changes in the near future?
Oh yeah, that was the whole basis of why I formed Eurythmics, was that it was to be able to change without, wrecking other people's careers who were with us, and also to be able to continue playing live without getting totally bored. Do you know what I mean? Through having to repeat yourself, and to be flexible enough so that Eurythmics might just make film music for 6 months, or Annie might want to act in something, and then we might make an album, and then we might go out. For instance, in England we played live with a gospel choir and piano, and then another time there'd just be 3 of us, and another time a 10-piece band. So,
see, we could see that by being in a normal sort of conventional structure of a group, that as creative artists it was very limited, because you simply get a hit with one, almost like a formula, and then you're stuck with it more or less. Everybody wants to see the same group look the same way. We didn't want to do that. So being just the 2 of us, because we didn't have to say, oh, well, we have to have a bass player now, or we have to have a drummer, it left so many options open to us, see. So creatively, it's marvellous, it's limitless. Eurythmics can be involved in film or film music or anything.
We haven't got a length in our career. Like, say if you form something like a rockabilly band, and then rockabilly goes out of fashion, it's kind of really difficult.
Kind of out,
It's really difficult to say, well, I'm not a rockabilly now. Honestly, change your hair and all that.
One thing I was wondering about, what are the advantages or disadvantages in being a non-romantically linked male-female duo? Like, say, are there any communications problems, first of all, being of different sexes? Like if there were 2 guys, maybe you could communicate a little better. For 2 girls, you could communicate better.
I know what you mean, yeah.
It'd be more rivalry.
I think it makes it more exciting and on the edge, really. When it's 2 guys, it always ends up, hanging out and going for a drink, and in fact, you probably would not get as much work done in a way, because, and if it was 2 girls, I don't know. I think it makes it very on the edge.
2 different aspects, Despite, apart from the fact that we are different sexes, we have a very different outlook on life. Although essentially we are more or less we come to the same point, but just quite different. So I'm rather the darker element in a way. Dave is more outgoing, and this creates a balance. I think, a very interesting.
I think it's one of the reasons why we're so successful. Actually, is because we have this complete yin and yang thing that comes out as a really powerful force. Because, in a way I put all of the muscle sometimes into the band, like the rhythm section and things. It's very masculine, and he sings on top of it, and that's very feminine. But she's also, if she had like a different kind of band playing behind her, it might not come out so kind of but that works really well. It's like Ike and Tina Turner in a way, when they did live shows. That was very sort of some kind of chemical thing going on that made it very edgy.
I got the idea that was like a solo singer, and then like Ike was her musical director. That was always the impression I got.
Well, that's a bit like a live situation. I am a bit like the musical director, even though Annie is totally involved in it. Sometimes she won't even come to a rehearsal for 3 or 4 days, and when she arrives, the band already is playing really powerfully. Maybe she'll say, "Oh, but maybe it's this bit."
But I'm not just a singer; I'm also playing,
well,
playing and bending, so it's more involvement than that.
No, but in a live situation, I see it more like we're making a platform for Annie to do fantastic vocals, and nobody's competing on the stage to be like the front person.
This is probably going to overlap with what you were just saying. She feels a lot of different potential and possibilities from your music, and we can expect various changes in the near future. Anything specific, though? Any directions you've been going
You see, we don't really make plans like, if you were designing a new, the new Eurythmics, and we design the look and everything. We more go into a space just where the 2 of us are, like an old house with a studio set up in it, and we experiment.
Just let it develop.
And from that comes the thing. because that's more natural. It would be very contrived to sit and say, oh, well, now we'll wear spacesuits and we'll make music underwater or something. You know?
But I mean, you could be dragging Sam and Dave into the studio for joint.
Sam actually did sing live with us in Los Angeles.
Yeah, well, that's the way I was referring to. I mean, you could
Oh,
be
we
singing
are
Dave
doing all
Guest.
sorts of things like that, but when it comes to Eurythmics, you know, the new Eurythmics album, we have to wait till we experiment. Anyway, we're not going to give it away now. Somebody else will go and do it.
But maybe some of the stuff on stage you'll be doing on record.
They're all on record, actually.
They're,
every one of
everything's
them.
on record.
Oh, is it right?
Live, yes.
But it just sounds totally different because we rearranged it completely differently.
All right.
Okay?
Move on.